Have you ever walked down a street and felt nothing? Every building looks the same. Same glass, same concrete, same flat, empty faces staring right back at you. Walking around a city like this is a lot like shopping for cookie cutters. They all look the same and they lack any real design. And that sameness is not accidental. It is the result of decades of architecture that has prioritized cost and efficiency over something far more important: the people living inside. Modern architecture has prioritized cost, efficiency, and minimalism over human needs, and people are suffering for it mentally and socially, without most people even realizing the built environment is part of the cause. Today, as mental health concerns continue to rise globally, it is time to examine the spaces we've built around ourselves and ask simple but urgent question: are they helping us or are they hurting us? Some will argue that mental health is shaped by factors architecture cannot touch: genetics, income, trauma, and access to healthcare. And those factors are real. But here is the thing: architecture does not need to be the sole cause of a problem to be the part of the solution. Today, we're going to walk through 7 key ways that better design can directly improve our mental health and social well being. Let's start with something most of us experience every single day: noise. And I don't just mean the sound of traffic outside your window or your noisy neighbors. Noise comes in two forms: auditory and visual. Auditory noise, the sound that bleeds through thin walls, the traffic that wakes you at 3 in the morning, the neighbor's TV, these raise stress hormones and interrupt sleep. But visual noise is just as damaging. Think excessive clutter, busy patterns, and chaotic layouts. Research from American Psychological Association confirms that living and working in cluttered spaces cause measurable stress and anxiety, and directly harms both mental health and productivity. The solution isn't complicated. Soundproof insulation, strategic floor plans that naturally dampen sounds, and intentional interior design that reduces visual clutter can completely transform the feel of a space. A sense of privacy, knowing you have a quiet place to retreat to, is foundational to mental health, and it starts with intentional design choices. Beyond what a building sounds like, we need to talk about what it is made of, because the materials in your walls, floors, and ceilings can literally affect your mental health. Everyday activities like cooking, cleaning, and even some construction materials release pollutants into the air we breathe indoors. The National Institute of Environmental Health Sciences categories these as significant health risks, and the European Environment Agency has found that long term exposure to air pollution is directly associated with psychiatric disorders, including depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, and even an increased risk in suicide. One effective solution is material encapsulation, placing a barrier between potentially harmful building materials and indoor air. This can be as simple as proper installation of vapor barriers or choosing low emission materials from the start. Beyond air quality, choosing durable materials also means buildings require fewer renovations over time, reducing construction waste and the cycle of pollutants released during rebuilding. The materials we build with are not just construction decisions, they are a public health decision. Think about the last time you felt truly productive. Were you cramped in a tight corner with no space to think? Or were you somewhere open where you can move, breathe, and choose how you worked? Research consistently showed that overcrowded and cluttered environments increase stress and reduce our ability to focus. Open, flexible interior spaces directly counter this. COVID 19 forced a reckoning with this. Companies discovered that flexible environments, at home or in the office, dramatically improved employee well being. The lesson is not that everyone should work from home, it is that everyone needed agency over their own space. And architects can provide that this through flexible, open design, even in existing buildings through strategic renovations. Now let's talk about one of the most powerful and overlooked mental health tools available to architects: natural light. Sunlight triggers the production of vitamin D in the body, and vitamin D is not just a physical health supplement, it has an antioxidant properties and plays an active role in brain tissue function. Research published and current nutrition reports found that vitamin D is directly important for mood disorder prevention and treatment. The architectural solution is surprisingly straightforward. Larger windows, strategic placements to maximize light intake throughout the day, and in dense cities where surrounding buildings block direct sunlight, architects can use light reflected off neighboring glass facades, bouncing natural light into spaces that might otherwise be dark. Bigger windows can cost more upfront, but reduced dependence on artificial lighting offsets that expense over time. More light is quite literally more happiness. Here's a statistic that should stop us in our tracks. The World Health Organization has identified loneliness as a leading cause of mental health decline. People who are lonely are twice as likely to become depressed and are significantly higher in rise for anxiety and suicidal ideation. And yet, so much of modern architecture is designed in a way that guarantees isolation. Long, identical hallways, no gathering spaces, no reason to ever speak to your neighbor. We have built environments that make loneliness the default. The antidote is communal design. Courtyards, shared lounges, neighborhood plazas. These are spaces that don't force interactions but make it possible. They create the conditions for trust and cooperation to grow naturally. Now, it is worth noting not everyone wants social interaction. Forced engagement can increase anxiety, especially for introverts or people with social anxiety. The key word is opportunity. Good communal design never demands connection, it simply provides a stage for it. When architecture is built with community in mind, it stops being a building, it becomes the foundation of a neighborhood. Closely connected to communal spaces is something called walkability. It might be the single most powerful mental health upgrade a city can make. Walking is exercise, and physical activity has been proven in study after study to reduce the risk of depression. Research from the National Library of Medicine suggests the relationship may actually be causal, meaning walking doesn't just correlate with better mental health, it may directly cause it. Walking also exposes people to natural sunlight, which, as we've just discovered, directly benefits mood and cognition. But walkability is more than just physical movement. A walkable neighborhood increases the chance of spontaneous social encounters, greeting a neighbor, stopping at a local shop, and having a brief conversation. These small moments build social fabric that protects mental health. And while cities like Houston or Phoenix are built around car dependency at a scale that can't easily be reversed overnight, walkability doesn't have to be all or nothing. Adding a connected trail, including mixed use zoning on a single corridor, or building a grocery store within a neighborhood all produce real, measurable mental health benefits. Change doesn't have to be total to be meaningful. All of the design principles we discussed today mean nothing if they're only accessible to the wealthy. Since the 2008 financial crisis, the housing market has made home ownership increasingly stressful, turning what should be an exciting milestone into a source of chronic anxiety for millions. Affordable housing reduces financial stress, which creates room, figuratively and literally, for people to invest in their spaces in the communities. And having essential amenities nearby, like grocery stores, healthcare, workplaces, reduces the daily burden of commuting and logistics, supporting mental health for everyone, including the elderly and disabled who may not be able to drive. Most people in urban areas rent their homes and have zero authority over who their building is designed or maintained. That is why better architecture isn't a design conversation, it is a political conversation. Building codes that require landlords to meet mental health conscious design standards would ensure that good design is a right, not a privilege, reserved for those who can afford it. The spaces we build around ourselves is not just structures. They are direct reflections of how much we value the people who live inside them. From the materials in the walls to the walkability of the neighborhood surrounding them, every design decision an architect makes has the potential to either improve or harm the well being of the people inside. The mental health crisis we face today is not just a medical issue, it is, in part, an architectural one. and it demands an architectural solution. Next time you walk down a street lined with cookie cutter buildings, ask yourself, what is this space actually doing for the people inside? And then ask what it could do instead.